Man,
how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing, sir?
Very good.
Man, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you.
Man, it's an honor. It's a pleasure seeing the whole space. Incredible what you guys have going on here. I mean, it's not just a podcast studio.
No, it's not. It's, we looked at this property for many years, 11 acres on the airport. You hear the planes flying by, which I absolutely love. Finally, there was an opening. We picked it up.
Beautiful. Yep. I think Mateo said there's a couple hundred people working here.
Yes, nearly.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, so as you know, today is the 29th anniversary of the legendary All Eyes on Me, Tupac's release in 1996. And you're a big Tupac fan, huh?
Big. I got a painting in my house. It's a 15-foot painting with the Shah of Iran, with Senna, the driver whom I named my daughter after, with Milton Friedman, the economist, with Martin Luther King, big fan of Martin Luther King, then John F. Kennedy, Lincoln, and Einstein. And then Tupac is in my ear. I'm whispering. We're talking to each other, and we're smiling. But he's in a painting.
Man, that's awesome. So, do you know anything about me and Truth About Tupac movement?
I know the fact that you're a big Tupac. I know you run one of the bigger accounts. I know you are very much interested in this topic. I know a lot of people in the Tupac community who follow it closely know that you are one of the bigger historians of Tupac that knows the history of what he's done. That's how much I know about you.
Okay. Well, I think at this point, more people know you. So if I could just give a little intro, outside of the one sheet that you read, I actually did my undergraduate thesis on Tupac at the University of Washington. I graduated in 2007 with a comparative history of ideas degree. And the comparative history of ideas program at the University of Washington came out of a long history of struggle going back to the second Black Panther Party chapter. Aaron Dixon and them took over a building on campus just to get African American and various minority studies at the university. And through that lineage came comparative history of ideas. I explored comparative mythology through the contemporary context of Black Jesus, Machiavelli, and Tupac Amaru, Pac's indigenous namesake. I went to University of Texas, El Paso, and New Mexico State University after that to work on my postgraduate and apply the thesis through business via story. So I had a business professor that really focused on the role and power of story to shape business ventures, organizations, projects, which kind of ties into your new book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely, which we'll get into. I went to LA in 2009. The woman who is credited for discovering Tupac, his first manager, Layla Steinberg, one of my mentors, and like another mother from another mother since my mom's passed, took me under her wing and helped mentor and make introductions that basically opened up the Truth About Tupac movement, which I founded in 2009. Same year you founded PHP.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in my car in Venice Beach and building the website in coffee shops. That Layla connected me to Darius Love, my partner in Bigger Picture Productions. He had founded Bigger Picture Productions and at the time was slated to play Tupac and All Eyes on Me. And so that's kind of when our adventure began, and it was a long road. We did a lot of cool stuff, and just one thing led to another, and it kind of, Tupac actually brought me to really get my life together, get my business together, which is really exciting with me here with you now. So again, I want to thank you, and with that being said, I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to start simple, and then we'll turn the heat up a bit. First time you ever heard of Tupac?
I got to the States November 28, 1990. And you heard earlier, we're talking about Julius when he said 1991, his uncles named him Julius. And the reason why I said that is because in 1991, I was a diehard Lakers fan, and that's when Michael scored his shot, over Perkins. And I realized this guy, Michael's the best guy in the world. And then I was going to a school called Wilson Junior High School in Glendale, off of Verdugo. Probably in my 9th grade or 10th grade is when I first got introduced to Tupac and his music. And you start listening to it. I was in 8th grade? When did Eazy-E, Real
motherfucking G's?
Geez, when did that come out? So that came out, I must have been 14 years old. So that would have been 1992. Can you check to see, Rob, if we can turn on that TV when Eazy-E's song came out? Because we went to the warehouse.
So that would have been 93, I think.
I want to say it's 92 or 93.
93.
93, okay. So it comes out, I'll tell you exactly. The week it came out, I bought the black tape, the single. Okay, because on one side it was explicit, the other side it wasn't. So that was my workout tape. My dad said, put the tape in. I put it in. He said, we got to go return it back. So I had to go get it from somewhere else, warehouse, because my parents were divorced and my dad was worried about me getting into gangs because I was spending way too much time with gangsters. And my friend and I, Lolo, if he sees this, he'll crack up. We would go to YMCA to work out in a CRX, and we would listen to Eazy-E. And then from there, I was introduced to hip-hop, 93. And then it went into some old school stuff, RBL Posse, to Master Ace, to Rappin' Forte, and Mr. X, who was a little bit of an R&B guy. I was all R&B and hip-hop. And then once I got introduced to Tupac, he was just different. There was something about him that moved you. It was emotion. It was rage. It was thinking. It was philosophical. It was driving. It was punchy. It was, you'd stop and you'd say, oh my God, I had my best friend who ended up dying in May 2nd of 2005 when we would hang out together. His number one song of Tupac was Life Goes On, and we would park in this one street next to the 134 freeway, and he would smoke weed, and he would smoke weed at the time, and we'd listen to Life Goes On. Every time I listen to Life Goes On today, I go back to thinking about my friend Armin. I can tell you each story where it takes me to, where Brenda takes me to, where, Troublesome takes me to, where the song that he did, who's the other guy? John B. Babe. What is the song that he did with John B? What is the song? The collaboration he did with John B? What's the name of the song? It's
I'm spacing on.
Oh my God, it is a phenomenal song.
I love that
John
song.
B. Yeah,
no, the production on that song is like it's such a beautiful
so
song.
to me,
I met John B. We interviewed him.
Yeah, John B.
He was awesome.
What was the name of the collaboration? Tupac and John B. The moment I said I'm going to be, are you still down?
It is. Are you still?
Yeah,
down?
are you still
That's
down? So yeah, all of these songs take you somewhere. But Tupac, two times in school, I was emotional as a kid. When Magic announced he got AIDS and when Tupac died.
Yep.
Those are the 2 days that I remember.
Yeah, you speak about it, and you did a blog, Tupac versus Biggie in marketing.
Yes.
And you discussed that, and I was a senior in high school also. We're the same age.
Yep.
And everybody, you said about 100 people skipped class that day.
Oh, that day, it was tough.
I remember the night he got shot more than any. That's where I have a vivid memory. But this is crazy, man. There's a lot of synchronicities, and this has been a reoccurring theme my entire life with regards to Pac. And so you said November 28th is when
1990. November 28, 1990 is when I came to the States.
Because I thought about that when I saw November. I actually circled November 28, 2002.
That date is chose intentionally.
Right, and that's so if you were born in 78, then 12 years later would have been 1990, and then 12 years later would be 2002. So I think that's fascinating. And then you just mentioned lot of interesting things like that. Cool, cool synergistics. One of the things we always ask on Truth About Tupac is, we always say, what is your top favorite tracks? And it's always hard because it always changes, but top 5.
What mood am I in?
There
if I'm in the mood to reflect about family and mom, I'll play Dear Mama on repeat. If I'm thinking about a friend of mine and times that is, certain moments in my life, I'll go to, we just talked about it earlier, Life Goes On. If it's, in a mood to just put a, favorite songs of Tupac to play, I love Troublesome. I don't know why Troublesome to me, it's
96?
just phenomenal. 96, yeah. Brenda's Got a Baby is dark, it's painful, it's emotional. I don't know why it fires me up when I work out and I listen to Brenda's Got a Baby. Obviously, hit them up. If you're trying to max out some weight, I haven't maxed out in a long time, but if I'm trying to really lift a heavy weight that I haven't done in a long time, I put up Hit 'em Up. Hit 'em Up, there's something about Hit 'em Up that maybe as a family guy, my kids shouldn't be watching this. Kids, you shouldn't be listening to Hit 'em Up. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, Hit 'em Up would be one. What are the unique ones to go to?
Dear Mama, Brenda's Got a Baby,
Life
Hit 'em
Goes
Up,
On.
Troublesome 96, you only get one more. Life Goes On. That's
Life
5.
Goes On.
It's going to change, watch.
I think that's, obviously, you got a few of them that I Ain't Mad at You's, the music video was phenomenal with the guy from, that played in that one movie
Bokeem.
from Jason's Lyric,
Bokeem
who
Woodbine.
wasn't, Jason's Lyric. He was
Yeah.
the brother in Jason's Lyric that kills. That's the whole scene. He
Yep.
was in I Ain't Mad at You. But yeah, this thing to me, I can go all over the place. with
Yeah.
it.
No, it's a trick question. The five number 1 songs. What about All Eyes on Me? If you were to pick one song, would it be Hit 'em Up? Picture Me Rolling?
Hit 'em up.
All Eyes?
Picture Me Rolling on my 500 Brents. I got no love for these. Yeah, Picture Me Rolling is legit.
It is.
Oh my God, like that is, phenomenal. I've listened to Picture Me Rolling. Like most listened to for me is probably top 3. Probably top 3.
Only God Can Judge Me?
Only God Can Judge Me is a song I like. I probably listened to that more back in the days than I do now. It's a good song, but to me,
Picture Me Rolling is lit.
Picture Me Rolling. Yeah, no need to be friends. They got me under
Surveillance.
surveillance. Yeah, it's
where
a
somebody
real,
be telling.
right. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Favorite video? I Ain't Mad at You? Dear Mama?
Oh, let's see, man. If you go favorite video, it's the one that he would do with Dre and Snoop and
California Love?
and the music videos are different for me because music videos. Yeah, California Love is that music video with California Love is unreal. I Ain't Mad at You's good because it really gets you. Hit 'em Up had a music video as well, right? I think Hit 'em Up had. I think they had. You
Gobi.
could get it on jukebox. Yeah, I
Gobi
remember.
directed it. Do
Right.
you know Gobi?
No.
You don't know about Gobi?
Uh-uh.
Amazing. Fascinating. Okay, we're going to discuss Gobi. Yeah, Gobi is the homie. Gobi was Tupac's business partner at the time of his death. He had a production company, Tracy Danielle Robinson, Gobi, Tupac, 24/7 Productions.
Oh, Gobi's an Iranian guy?
He's Iranian.
Persian guy, Rahimi.
Yeah, I got some questions from Gobi for you.
Go for it.
That's my bro. Yeah, we'll get into Gobi. Shouts out to Gobi. Shouts out to Tracy. Mateo said his favorite song was Brenda's Got a Baby. And Brenda's got a baby, but she barely even has a name.
Yeah, and the negotiation with the fact that they didn't want that because they said, this is not a radio song.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling the story. What do you want me to do? I'm going to tell the story. No, this is not a radio song. No one's going to play this on the radio.
That was a good scene.
That was a phenomenal
That was a great scene in
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me. Yeah,
It was a phenomenal scene. And then
people don't know that.
And then you hear that being put on there. And it's like, look, what do you want me to tell you? I tell stories. I tell stories of the stuff I saw. Like, this is what I went through. There's no way that happened. That's what I saw, this happening. And you know what it does? Like, for me, John Q, the movie, did something. You watch John Q, and wherever you are politically about health insurance, right? And you're kind of like, give me a break. You know, I mean, come on. I mean, why do I have to pay for it? And why does this person have to pay for it? And then you're like, you know, I don't bury my son. My son's going to bury me, right? That scene. My son's going to bury me. You cut me open, puts the gun. And then you're like, how much was it? $250,000. Are you kidding me? And my good friend Kevin Connolly's in it. And you're like, this makes sense. You know, we got to do something with this. And it takes you there, right? You go straight in the hospital, like as a father, you're willing to do anything for your kid to live. You're there. I'll give my life up in a second for my kid to live. Tupac with his songs, Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama, like when you're listening to Dear Mama, he's telling you about the challenges his mom faced. Like, you don't want to throw your mom under the bus on what she did, what she was like, but he's still giving her love and forgiveness. So I think Tupac, in my opinion, was able to take me to exactly what was going on at that time, and I was with it. Don't get me wrong, but the moment I say this, people are going to get upset when I say this. Kendrick Lamar, a lot of younger guys love Lamar, and there's a lot of new age guys that are rappers. But I just cannot at all get me to see their ability to tell a story the way Tupac did. I can't go there.
Yeah.
It's at a very different standard.
I feel you.
You can go and listen to hip hop. And, you know, I always talk about how the difference between Tupac and Biggie was Dream, Tupac was Crusade, right? Biggie was about, it was all a dream. You know, I used to read Word Up magazine and, you know, it was all about the dream. And by the way, you need that. You need to pursue a dream. You need to go after, I want to become somebody. I want to have money. I want to succeed. I want to travel the world. I want to be able to hear the magical words from my dad. But, you know, I'm proud of you. But from Tupac, it was a crusade. Correcting an injustice. You know, this is what they're doing. We got to do something about this. We got to stand up. We got to, and in life, if you can balance out the dream and the crusade together, it'll produce the right kind of energy that brings out the best in you. But I think one without the other is missing. Yeah. But generally, I'm more crusade than I am dream.
I like it. Yeah, I love that that article, Tupac versus Biggie. And actually, I bet a quote here from Pac, it made me think about, you're talking about having a big and audacious dream. This lyric from Pac came in my mind. I see you trying to hide, hoping that nobody doesn't notice. You must always remember you're still a member of the hopeless. You know that lyric?
Which one is it from?
That is from... Now I'm spacing.
Say it again, because I'm curious. I have to know now.
Yeah, that's the lyric. I don't know why I didn't write that.
Is the song called Hopeless? Is it called when I say
No. It's They Don't Give a Fuck About Us. It's the song. Yeah.
Got it. Yep. Got it.
Black like me, so you snap like me when these devils try to plot. Trap your young black seeds. Okay, so we'll get back on to Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Is that the Outlaws? Better Days is featuring
they don't
Outlaws. Yeah, it's featuring Outlaws. Yeah. They don't. So I chose to write.
So clearly, you still feel the same way about the Crusader versus the Dream, selling the Dream. One of the first interviews I ever saw with you regarding Tupac was the Greg Kading interview, a mutual friend. And we interviewed Greg early, I think 2012 or 13. And you've also discussed kind of extensively with both Cube and Mike Tyson regarding Detective Kading's work around Puffy and what are your feelings about that? What do you think?
I don't trust Puffy. I've never trusted him. I've always seen him. When you're raised in a place with highly sensitive people and folks who are bipolar, the negative you get from it is nothing is steady in your life because it's always changing. There's always an earthquake going on, especially as a kid when you're around somebody that's highly bipolar. So you never know who you're going to talk to on any given day. So you'll come home and you'll have to look for like 30 seconds. And within 30 seconds, you're like, oh, I know who it is today. That's the personality today. Oh, I know who it is today. I got to go to the gym today because I can't be around you. Oh, I know who you are today. I'm safe. Oh, shit, this could be a surprise. Good, bad, ugly. I better get the hell out, right? So as an early age, when you're living in Iran and there's war going on, you're highly, highly, highly sensitive. Now, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Bomb sounds, you're sensitive to every single thing because you have to be. The whistling sound before a bomb drops, you studying how a bomb is getting closer to your house and a plane is above you, drops, you hear the whistling sounds, drops, the whistling sound gets deeper and deeper, and then you time it 7 seconds, then quiet for 2 seconds, and then boom, and you see the boom, and you see the boom, and another boom, and then boom, and then boom. Plane's gone. It flew over you, didn't hit your building. You come out, the building next door is all the way down, and yours isn't. So you become highly sensitive to sound. You become highly sensitive to looking at your mom and dad to see if they're scared or not, because if they're not scared, you're fine. But if they're shivering scared, you're also scared. So
that's what you remember.
That's my life, yeah, in Iran. So then you go to Germany. In Germany, you're around a bunch of other people that escaped communism, you know, whether Yugoslavians or Czechoslovakians or Polish or Afghani or Pakistan or Iran or whatever they are. You're in a constant, there's a level of concentration of people that are leaving fear and anxiety, and you're sizing them up when you're talking to them, right? There's been real chaos in their lives. And then you grow up in the streets and you go in the army. So at 21, you may not have a degree, but you have an ample amount of information stored here about people you've seen with different emotions and how they react. And every time I watch Diddy, I've never trusted him from day one. Never. Never. Now, don't get me wrong. One of my favorite songs is what he did, you know, right after Biggie was gone. And that song I listen to because it's a great song. There's something about it that's takes you to a place. But yeah, I mean, when you talk to Greg Kading and he's talking about all these other people and who hired who and who benefited from it, the timing of the contract, Biggie gave the last album that he was owed to. And then afterwards, it's like, well, you know, he's going to leave. If he leaves, the market's going to realize that it's really Biggie that was driving a lot of the traffic. What's he going to do after that? And then there was two people in his way. One of them was Tupac. One of them was Biggie. He was not worried about Suge as much. Maybe he was, but he wasn't. And you hear that awards ceremony where him and Snoop are up there. Everybody's worried about the fact that who's going to be next. But I've never been a fan of Diddy. When Diddy went on to Charlemagne the God a couple of years ago, and he's asking him a question about Pac, he says, "You know, we don't talk about nonsense. We don't talk." And he's looking this way. We don't talk about, what's the word he says? We don't talk about. What does he say? We don't talk about. This is the one. Can you play this? Let me hear what he says, Rob. Go ahead.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense.
Yeah,
we don't even entertain nonsense, my brother.
We don't even entertain
So we're not
nonsense.
even going to even go there, with all due respect. But I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
So, you know, to me, now, I could be wrong. I could be fully wrong, and he didn't do anything. And there's a lot of guys that are afraid to, should they defend him maybe because they got a friendship or a relationship. And I totally understand. I respect the fact that people have to do what they do. I don't have that relationship. But he does not give. I've had Suge on. I've spoken to Suge. You know, I've had a lot of mobsters I've spoken to over the years. I was the first one that interviewed Sammy the Bull when he got out of jail. First big interview that Michael Francis did. I've interviewed the lawyers of mobsters, Oscar Goodman, Frank Collada, who was the guy in the movie Casino that puts the head in the vice and squeezes the head until it blows up, and that's Frank Collada, who was the guy, right-hand guy for Tony Spilatra. So I've interviewed all these guys to just kind of get body language to see where they're at, and you'll say, yeah, this guy killed him. No, this guy didn't kill him. This guy did, but he doesn't admit he did. I just had the former founder of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from that they've killed millions of people, Hamas, ISIS, Hezbollah. He was here yesterday. We did a 2.5-hour podcast with him. This guy's the former founder. And I'm sitting there trying to size him up to see what he did. His direct report in a building they're in, first floor, brings a bomb, places the bomb, kills the president and the prime minister of Iran. This guy was reporting to the president. His direct report places the bomb to kill the president and the prime minister. And I have to sit here for 2.5 hours and size him up to see if he's telling the truth or not. And you have to be like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know if I'm, and then 50%, 60%. I've just never had good vibes about Diddy.
Rob, can you pull up that clip? And this is a good segue into this clip. So, but before you drop it, I just want to ask. I want you to watch this, and I found it interesting. I'd like to reframe that question about Puffy, not in regards to whether you think he killed Pac or was involved, but I'm just curious as a business person and thinking about choose your enemies wisely. What Pac says about Puffy in this interview reminds me of your book. So I'd like to have your comment on that.
You cool? No, I'm straight. I can share with dogs.
Straight. That's Mountain Dew. That shit nasty to the motherfucker. You try to do no bungee jump.
I just wanted to clear my throat.
You lost Best Rap Video. You'd all disappointed about that?
Oh, no, I didn't lose, see, because I sold 6.5 million copies, so I won.
When all these famous people get together, what's the one thing you take away? Is everybody much shorter than you thought? I know a lot of people find Snoop and say, 6'4", I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
But do people seem shorter? There's a lot of attitude going on. What's the one thing you take away?
Oh, it's a lot of attitude, of course, because nobody thought we would show up here. But, we always feel like we keeping it real. Scratch that. We always felt like we're being true to everything we've always stayed representing. And our audience is worldwide. We're not even on we coming out here and there's some East Coast, West Coast. We got beef with the people we got beef with. But we could go anywhere in the country because we are America's most wanted.
Exactly.
So you can't stop the flow.
Can't stop what America wants.
On that note, I know that Biggie and Puffy are here tonight. Did you see them? Do you have anything to say to them at all?
Nah, but even if we saw them, we are businessmen. We are not animals. It's not like we're gonna see them and rush them and jump on them. If they see us and they want drama, we're gonna definitely bring it like only Dev Row could bring it. But we here as businessmen to enjoy and
support the
Video Music Awards for MTV because they support us. So if they want to come and use this business opportunity to get on some gangster, we do that better than anybody.
All right, you could stop that, Rob. Thanks. That's what I wanted you to comment on. Just the way he responded, like, yeah, we're business people. We're here to do business.
What do you think about it? I have my opinion. What do you think about it?
Well, I think he was being polite and political and professional.
Why do you think? You think maybe? Okay, who's more gangster, Tupac or Suge? It's not a tough one.
Well, gangster, I would say Suge.
Okay, good. Because Suge is a real gangster, right?
Suge is a real gangster.
Suge's a real gangster.
Okay.
Okay, so, but here's where I'm going. Who's the alpha, Tupac or Suge? Alpha, not talent, alpha.
I mean, at the Row, it would have been Suge.
It's Suge.
Yeah.
But who do people want to hang out with, Suge or Tupac?
Pac.
Who do people want to listen to, Suge or Tupac?
Pac.
Tupac. Who's the talent? Pac. Who's the charismatic, larger-than-life Pac? Who's the better communicator? Pac. But the boss, the leader, the alpha, was Suge. So what do you think are the chances of Suge having shaped the mindset of his talent before they go to the awards? What do you think is the likelihood of that happening?
To just make him say professional. Yeah, I get it.
For sure.
Makes sense.
So Suge is going to be like, look, guys, when we're going to go there, if they bring it and I call the shot, we're going, okay? But guess what? It's going to be business because this is professionals. We want to be able to go and be invited back, and we want to go to places like this. Let's keep it business. So dressing sharp, do you think that was Tupac's idea? You think that was Snoop's idea? You think that was Suge's idea? I don't know. I don't know whose idea that was, but I'm willing to bet this was a intentional effort to give this persona of, hey, we can also be businessmen, but Suge was the mastermind behind it, in my opinion.
Okay.
What I think is going on here. But, bless you. But
it does apply to the concept in Choose Your Enemies, right? In a way.
It does. It does. I mean, the way he answered it, he's being diplomatic. Does he mean it? I don't know. You know how sometimes in sports when you're being interviewed and they'll say things like, so what do you think about the fact that there's a rivalry going on here between the Lakers and the Clippers? Hey, what do you think about the rivalry that's going on between the Yankees and the Mets? So what do you think about, and then players would say very safe answers because they've been trained by PR to give safe answers, right? And what are the safe answers? Well, we respect them over there. They have a very good coach and their coaching staff and the players, got 2 All-Stars and some friends on the other side. We respect them. It's always fun when we play and, but rivalry, I don't know if I would call it that. It's, kind of played to that card, right? But in this case here, maybe he's being a little bit diplomatic, but he did say if something happens, we're ready to roll. He did say that. He didn't beat around the bush like playing it safe. But to me, guys like Tupac in a group, the reason why guys like Tupac are sometimes, like if you go to UFC, who's the Tupac of UFC? Conor. Okay. If you go to basketball, who was the Tupac of the Chicago Bulls? Rodman. If you go to, because you can't control them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but these personalities all have somebody that they respond to, that they respect. And those personalities know how to let the madness stay there, yet at the same time, they've earned the respect to say, hey, tone it down in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Phil and Michael were able to do it with Rodman, right? If you go to different places, in every sport, if I call it, you'll think of somebody. That they have someone that they know how to do that. But Tupac, to me, is a guy that, at any point, like you can tell Snoop is trying to keep it real, but Snoop probably also doesn't want as many problems as Tupac would probably attract.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion. Again, I've never spoken to Tupac. I've never spoken to Snoop, but that's my opinion.
That's a good opinion. I like it. Something else I just want to say. There's a trip you talked about interviewing Sammy the Bull. When I was 7 years old, the first vacation I ever remember going on was to New York City, December of 1985. That's when I wanted to play for the New York Yankees, and I was with my parents. We were at the steakhouse in Manhattan.
The steakhouse?
The steakhouse.
Sparks?
The night that Paul Castellano got whacked.
Get out of here.
I still remember to this day. I remember seeing police everywhere. Like, I still remember seeing police.
Wait, you were there the night Paul Castellano got shot outside of Sparks Steakhouse?
I was eating dinner with my parents. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm not saying that. I'm just was there having dinner.
Wow. And you heard the shooting? You heard all
I didn't hear any. All I remember is lights and growing older being like, damn, that's what happened. Like, because I didn't figure it out, obviously, till like much later. But yeah, December of 1985. And
the game changed.
Man, the game changed.
Yeah.
So the Academy, this was one of the reasons I reached out to you in addition to your love for Pac. You have this conversation going on in here with a hologram, with a Tupac hologram. And Pac says, I was named for Tupac Amaru, the last descendant of the Inca ruler, a legend. Tried to rebel against the Spanish and lost his damn head for the trouble. But of course, y'all ain't ever heard of him because they don't want you to. And they say, Boris says, who? He says, open your damn eyes, the government, corporations, the media. And not just the faces you know, the real power players, the ones with the cash who can make things happen, who use institution as tools to inject their beliefs and control more people. Those in power who plan on keeping it that way and are willing to do whatever it takes. You think they want you to hear about people fighting back? Hell no. So, coming back to Puffy and coming back to Detective Gating's work, do you feel like Pac's homicide was a gang-related homicide, strictly?
I don't know. I don't know that part. All I know is when I think about anybody that can't be controlled, you either have to find a way to do what? The people of power who don't like somebody that cannot be controlled. What do you do with that person? Let's go through the process of the people who are master propaganda people and the most powerful people that know how to take somebody out and make them disappear and claim he committed suicide, but there's 20 shots on the back. Okay, but that was suicide, right? Okay. Easiest thing to do is what? To take him out. But they typically like to resort to that last. Then you have the other option, which is what? The option is to undermine their credibility. Okay, and shut them down, put them in jail, get them to go away. They tried that with Mandela. They tried that with a lot of different people. You got to get him to go away. Hey, Trump, we got to put him in jail. We got to get rid of him. We got to make him a criminal so nobody trusts him, right?
He was a Gemini too, by the way. In that Ice Cube interview, who are the great Geminis?
Oh, I mean,
the Machiavelli that applies too to the uncontrollable.
Biggie's also a Gemini, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Can you pull up Biggie's birthday? If I'm not mistaken, John F. Kennedy's a Gemini. Marilyn Monroe's a Gemini. Angelina Jolie's a Gemini, if I'm not mistaken. May 21st. He's barely a Gemini. You got
May, June. Yeah, he's on the cusp. Huh?
Yeah, he's on the cusp. But you got all these guys, right? But going back to it, so you put him in jail to shut him up. Okay, this guy's going to go away. Just put him in jail. Okay, you create some sort of a rumor about him for everybody. He's a rapist. He's a criminal, financial. Oh, he made his money this way. You know. Oh no, this. You know, they'll try to defame your name for them to destroy your credibility. Okay, which you can't do that to Tupac because he's a street guy. Like, what level of credibility is the audience expecting? Like, for him to be an educated university? No, it's a street guy.
The allegation of rape, though, hit him.
It did.
Especially tough.
It did, and I remember the interview that he was doing outside. You know, when they're talking about the Sodom. You've seen the interview. I've seen the interview as well. But okay, so they try to do that for him to go away. Fine. Creative other stories that came out. Well, Puck back in the days when he was acting, maybe he was gay, maybe he was this because he sounds a little bit too feminine. And you've seen that interview.
Candace.
Right.
That's
right.
what
So,
she's saying.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe he is super feminine, maybe he was that. Okay, great. Okay, and then, hey, the other way we do is make sure you take all his money away. He was never a money guy, never made money. I mean, the agreement he had with the money with Shook, he never really made a lot of money. You know, it was like, hey, he would pay $60,000 or $50,000 or $80,000, but they never saw millions. Like when I had Kid Frost on one of the only 5 interviews I never went live with.
I met Kid Frost in L.A.
Right.
Cool.
When I had Kid Frost, I thought Kid Frost had 3 of my favorite hits, right? The East Side Rendezvous, what was it? This is for La Raza and Ain't No Sunshine, right? He had all those hits, and he got his first $500,000. And he was the first real, you know, Hispanic rapper that got paid. Because he was the guy. Like, I think even before Lighter Shade of Brown, I think he was the first guy that got big payday. And you hear stories about how tough it was to make money from Suge or get the money. So Tupac wasn't a money guy. He was a crusade guy. So you got to get the money. Well, it didn't matter because he had a tough guy named Suge behind him. So do I think this was a Fed thing? He would have ended up being there. If Tupac was alive today, he would be a pain in the ass for a lot of people.
So
for the establishment is what I'm saying.
So what did Suge say? So because the reason I ask about Suge, because I didn't realize you had talked to Suge, but you know, I with my homie Risky, the artist from the Machiavelli cover, and Bomb First back in 2011, we leaked a video. The video, I'm sure you've seen the video, Suge saying he helped Tupac fake his death and he paid off the autopsy guy. Did he play around with any of that?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
With Tupac being alive and all that stuff, and he's on an island somewhere with a few guys, no.
Have you ever entertained that?
I will give that less than 5% credibility. You know why? So let me
2.5-3% still pretty good stake in a company.
But let me tell you where I'm going with that. Hear me out where I'm going with that. So I'm going to take it in a weird place that maybe that 5% becomes 0%.
Okay.
Like this. Ready? Okay. So if Tupac's who you and I think Tupac is, and he's alive somewhere, and not saying anything,
no,
he's a coward.
Pat, this is one space where. So just to give you a better context, so when I look at comparative mythology through the contemporary context, this is how kind of Truth About Tupac was formed, the idea was looking at the two truths of Tupac. One, everyone wants to know what happened. And two, what's the truth of Pac's real message and mission? And then becoming a vehicle, which is the Tattoo Dreams concept, Truth About Tupac, to organically organize, develop, and revolutionary economic and media systems. But one of the things that I've got a lot of flack for it, but I've approached it through comparative mythology, through the lens of comparative mythology, and through the lens of possibility. My first paper was The Strategy of Possibility and Hope, about a Machiavelli ghostwrite to president. So when you reference Tupac Amaru, the last descendant of the Inca ruler, are you familiar with the Leyenda de Tupac Amaru?
No.
Do you know about the? So the story is that, there was 5 brothers of the Inca king, and 3 of them went with the Spanish, and 2 of them led a guerrilla war against the Spanish. Tupac Amaru was not just beheaded, but he was dismembered, arms, legs. They draw and quartered him with horses. The story is they buried his body in different parts of Peru, limbs over here, legs over there, head over there. And they said that the body's growing together under the earth, and that when the head and the body reconnect under La Tierra, it's going to resurrect. It's going to be the Pachacuti, which is an overturning of time and space, where the Inca king will restore indigenous rule to the Western Hemisphere and expel essentially the Western control of the West. So they've been leading the MRTA, the Shining Path, a bunch of Maoists and far left movements have been keeping this idea alive that Tupac Amaru is alive under the earth and going to reconnect and resurrect. Are you familiar with Lionel C. Martin?
No.
So Lionel C. Martin directed Dear Mama, and he did so without Pac. Pac was not in the video. Toss It Up. He did Toss It Up. Shed so many tears. So my first interview, before Truth About Tupac was even founded, was with Lionel C. Martin. And it's the one interview that's never been released except for this one short clip that I sent to Rob. I'd like Rob to play this one clip. And this has just been the rabbit hole. He was the original vid kid, Lionel C. Martin. And the only other interviews he's done about Tupac was on the set of Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, which he also directed after the fact without Tupac. That video is themed around the idea of Tupac being alive. It's just a short clip.
It was no secret that a lot of the authorities were kind of after Suge. They were always trying to get him on something. It's not far-fetched to believe that Tupac probably had a lot of information and knew a lot on Suge. And not to say that he would ever turn him in, because I don't think that that's something. But it is possible to me that the government would have set something up for information, because Suge pretty much went down maybe a year after Pac's death. See, some of these things aren't like really far-fetched. And the other thing is, like, you said, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the government. It could be just private organizations. There are people who have enough money to do anything, and that's the beauty of this whole thing, I think. And I just find it hard to believe that some people would shoot down a whole theory thing on this guy.
They got me going to the county jail, and my family can't pay this outrageous bail. Try to offer me a deal. They told me if I swear, move me and my people to a mansion in Brazil, not me.
So where are you going with this?
Well, I just wanted to...
You're thinking government was behind it?
Well, I'm just curious, one, if Pac was alive today.
Okay, so let me ask you, what do you think about the thoughts about the story you hear about with CIA's involvement in gangster rap?
Yeah.
Why would they do it?
I mean, that ties into the whole USA aid thing right now, right?
But why would they do it? Why would, let's just say the CIA brings gangster rap. Why would they do it?
Why would they work with Pac?
No.
Why would they protect Pac?
Why would the CIA be, when I had Ice Cube on, I think when I asked Cube about CIA with this, right? Why would they want to see rap go in the direction of gangster rap because the
to dilute. That's what that book's about. To dilute the revolutionary message in the music and water it down with consumerism and pop culture.
Why else would they want that direction? Why else would they want it to go that direction?
Well, it also promotes violence. It promotes. It creates a pipeline to the prison industrial complex.
So let me ask you a question. When you think, okay, perfect. So now it goes into a few different places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a guy here, Rob, who was a guy from the professor from Stanford or Berkeley that we had on, who was doing a thesis. He was doing a paper on rap, gangster rap, and he had done something on racism, and he went viral with the Barry Weiss interview that we had on.
Roland Fryer.
Roland Fryer, exactly. Roland Fryer. So we had Roland Fryer on, and Roland Fryer talks about hip-hop and rap. And I asked him the question about, if gangster rap made, communities worse. And he says, yes, it did. And he said, but it's not what you think it is. I said, what do you mean? He says, gangster rap didn't make Compton any worse. Gangster rap didn't make Baltimore any worse. What gangster rap did is, it also got the white boy living in Wisconsin in a good community, thinking he's gangster, going and committing crime and doing dumb shit. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it hurt other communities that weren't rough communities, getting people to think they're tough, right? Okay. But stay with the CIA thing. You hear the stories about Planned Parenthood. How many stories have we heard about Planned Parenthood? Pro-choice, pro-life. It was always good intention so women can have the freedom to do whatever they want to do with their bodies. Really? Yeah. Okay. Do you know the founder's background?
Yeah.
Do you know what she was all about?
Eugenics and Ku Klux Klan.
Do you know if she was all about the blacks? You think she was for blacks?
No.
You think she was about civil rights?
She wanted it as a tool to help to kill black children.
Exactly. What percentage of Rob? Can you go up and see what percentage of abortions at Planned Parenthood are African American versus white? Okay, if you want to go this direction with this is going to become a very interesting conversation. There's a data to it. If you just look at the stats, the percentage is unbelievable. Look at that. Look at the white, the black. 37. Okay, yeah, and then you see portion of abortions. By the way, that's the percentage of abortions. That's not compared to their skin color. That's all, period. So it is amazing what they did for the number of abortions that happen hurting the African-American community, race-wise. So, okay, if we're going to go play that card, and then why would you get rid of Tupac and these guys? Because let there be more killing of each other. Let there be, because that's what they would want to do. It would be dumb to get rid of a Tupac. But what would cause somebody to want to get rid of Tupac would be competition. And the person out of all of them, if we size up all the guys in that era, go to all the guys from that era, go to Dame Dash, okay? Go to Dame Dash, go to Diddy, go to Jay-Z, go to, Tupac, Suge, Biggie, who else? Mace. Go put all these guys together in that era. Snoop. Go put all of them together. East Coast guys, West Coast guys. Who was the biggest thinker and the most ambitious one? Who was the most ambitious one?
Tupac.
Ambitious for wealth and power.
Oh yeah, that would be Mr. Revolt.
Which is who?
Puffy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the ambitious one that wanted fame and power, Jay-Z didn't become the wealthiest because he wanted fame and power. Jay-Z's talented, right? And he was able to make it in ways that did well for him. 50's a money guy. He's a street guy. He's a tough guy. But 50 was also a talent.
Well, what do you think about Jay-Z playing with the theme of his involvement in Pac's death multiple times on record? Are you aware?
Now, yes. So now you're putting Jay-Z ahead of Diddy.
You're gonna have fun with that book over there. Let me read from your book, The Academy, page 226.
Go for it.
Pac referencing Hegelian dialect. Listen up, because this is the truth. That shit they don't want you to know. So this dude, he's got this thing, the Hegelian dialect. He says you create a problem, then you create opposition to that problem, and then you create a solution, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Sounds familiar? Made me think of Tupac. Military mind, suppress the revolution, a premeditated scheme, introduce a drug called crack to us ghetto teens. So that's what you said. Introduce crack to the inner city. Start the war on drugs to stop it, and then lock up more people than any other country in the history of the world. Lock up any. Okay, so this is fascinating. So to me, you're a bit of an anomaly, right? Like I take it from here. So your mother's family was Azerbaijani is, of course, communist. Your dad's family was with the Shah. And it seems like that's influenced like a lot of your take on communism, having experienced it, right?
Absolutely.
And having to flee Iran during the Iran-Iraq War and whatnot. Well, you're talking about the CIA, so I mean, I get into this a lot because I haven't been to a communist country, although I'd like to go and see for myself. But I mean, what do you think about the CIA disclosures? So the CIA was actually plotting to kill American citizens right here in this state and blame it on Castro. You're familiar with those disclosures, right? I mean,
what about it?
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to understand how you reconcile.
Right. But are you asking me if I trust the CIA?
No, I know. I clearly know you. I don't think you trust the CIA. But
no, no. Do I think? But
they were a vehicle of our government, right? They were arm of our government, right?
Well, you know what property you're on. Let me give you an idea. This property that you're on, okay? Do you know, when I'm looking at this property, the guy who was the guy's friend and the realtor who helped him sell this property comes up to me and says, "What do you know about this property?" I said, "Nothing. I just know I want the property." He said, "Well, let me show you what this property was all about." This was a CIA property, Department of Defense, and you know when Oliver North was doing the Iran-Contra, the selling of the weapons?
Mena, Arkansas.
No, that's the drugs.
Yeah. The weapons came from here.
Weapons are this airport. This land you're on. So then we buy the airport. The director of the airport shows up to our office. All our executives there, they want to meet us. So, well, congratulations, because we were trying to buy this, because nobody allows people to own property on the airport. So it's a land lease. And they wanted to buy it, so there was nothing else out there to lock it up. Well, guess what? We bought it. And so it's not a land lease. We own this place. This is a tax-free zone, okay, this place that we have. He says, "How much you know about this property?" I said, "I've heard a lot of weird stories. How much of them are true?" He says, "Every one of them, probably, and then some." I said, "Tell me some stories." He starts telling me stories. He said, "Back in the days, firefighters wouldn't come here because they were always worried about what was going to happen here, what was going on this property. There was always issues with this property." Anyways, I don't trust the CIA. Stories about to come out. Anna Paulina Luna announced the fact that there was 2 shooters with John F. Kennedy because she's handling that task force for the John F. Kennedy assassination.
My grandfather was there in Dallas, and he had claimed that he saw something other. I believe, I've asked my uncles about this, but I remember my grandfather had telling me that he was actually interviewed that day because he had claimed to have seen something in the grassy knoll area.
Who do people say you look like and talk like?
Oh man, I've got
I gotta get it right. Let me write it down before you say it.
Okay.
Actually, I'm just gonna type it here, but you.
Matthew McConaughey, I've gotten that.
Nope.
Shouts out to Matthew McConaughey.
Nope. Who? Okay, I just typed him, and I'm gonna put his image here. I'm just curious to know what you're going to say. No, that's the only one? This is it. To me, you look like this guy, and you kind of move like this guy.
Edward Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton.
All right.
That's you, bro.
Shouts out to Edward Norton.
And he's a stud. One of my favorite actors, by the way, Edward Norton. But no, so going back to it, yeah, to me, look, I think they're capable of doing something to undermine Castro, to get rid of him because he had so much power and they wanted to eliminate the risk of the Cuban Missile Crisis and whatever. Yeah, yes. Sure. Are they capable of doing that? For sure. Are they capable of creating a coup in Iran and getting rid of Mossadegh or the Shah? Yes, for sure. Are they capable of doing? They're capable of doing a lot. They're capable of ruining anyone's life and making it seem like it was their fault. Yes, they're capable of doing that, for sure. But Tupac was the East Coast, West Coast rap, if it would have continued, if you're buying into this theory, it would have killed a lot more people if Tupac would have stayed alive a little longer than at the age that he died. Well, I think it was 25, 20, how old was he?
25.
25.
Are you familiar with his clip about starting a voting bloc in a political party with the Armenians?
No.
Can we play that, Rob? I sent that to you. Oh, that's going to be a treat for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you know the part in the book when he talks about Hegelian dialectic, you know he talks about Hegel. He read Hegel's book. Mm-hmm. He was talking about how he was reading The Art of War. He was reading all these books on body language. He was studying Stalin. I don't know if you remember when he was reading the Stalin book.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So he wanted to study what generals study. Said he wanted to study what Clinton, he wanted to read what Clinton reads.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Do you have the clip, Rob?
Is this the one? Or is there a different one?
This is it.
This is it. Yeah.
I enforce my strength, my mind strength. That's what's more important to me now. The niggas see that this is not no accident. I plotted every single step from this to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything was plotted.
It's ill that the next shit is called Illuminati, because that's really what the Illuminati's on.
That's why I put the K to it. Because I wanted, the niggas is telling me about this Illuminati shit while I'm in jail, right? Like, the dollars.
Right.
That's another way to keep your self-esteem low. That's another way to keep you unconfident.
Right.
And I'm putting the K because I'm killing that Illuminati shit. Trust me. If these motherfuckers wanted to kill you, why the fuck they gonna tell Farrakhan? Why they gonna tell the Nation of Islam? Why they gonna tell this nigga in jail about the plan? How did he know?
Right.
How did it leak to him? Who told him? Who told him? The Pope? By the next election, I promise, I'm gonna be sitting across from all the candidates. I bet you. You know how I be making it? I promise you. I'm not even gonna be, I'm gonna be so far from where I am now in 4 years. God willing, I'm alive. It's on. I guarantee you, we will have our own political party. And it won't be just for black people. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for black people. It's going to be for Armenians. I don't give a fuck. All you lost tribe motherfuckers right now.
All
we
you
need
lost tribe
to have our own
motherfuckers.
political party because we all have the same motherfucking plot. We built this nation and we get none of the benefits.
See, that's the language of a revolutionary.
That hits you, huh?
That's a language of a revolutionary.
Yeah, so you ever listen to Immortal Technique?
Why do I know that name? Hang on.
Immortal Tech is really important because he was very inspired by Tupac, and he's Peruvian, so he has the connection with Tupac Amaru. He's super far left. He's got a lyric. He said, "The voice of racism preaching the gospel is devilish. A fake church called the Prophet Muhammad a terrorist. Forgetting God is not religion but a spiritual bond, and Jesus is the most quoted prophet in the Quran. They bombed innocent people trying to murder Saddam when you gave him those chemical weapons to go to war with Iran."
Powerful. Let's see. So he wrote the song "Dance with the Devil." Now I got to listen to it afterwards.
Oh yeah, "Dance with the Devil's" that's.
And then he did something with Method Man and Nas. Is that him that's in it with Jadakiss and?
Yeah,
Immortal
Fourth Branch. You should check out Fourth Branch and Point of No Return.
So where is he at now? What's he up to now? Because that was 17 years ago.
Yeah, no, he's an underground artist. He does a lot. Charitable work, and he's an activist.
Immortal Technique. So you said he's a hardcore leftist.
Very much.
Okay, so What are his positions? I'm curious now. Let's see what his positions are. And who follows him?
Well,
very interesting.
So, you found some mutual friends that follow him?
Well, no, for sure. Just very interesting what he follows and who he follows. Okay. Yeah.
So there's this is fascinating to me because you ever read Holler If You Hear Me? Michael Eric Dyson's book on Tupac?
No.
So in that book, this is a quote from my thesis. It says that Afeni, Tupac's mother, rest in heaven, had told him that Tupac taught her how to make peace with capitalism. She elaborates, I didn't know how to do that. I just knew how to be mad with capitalism. Dyson says that according to Afeni, Tupac learned how to rebel and make cash, a lesson she slowly absorbed. So it's just interesting because, Pac has those hardcore revolutionary roots. That's where he comes from as a revolutionary with, his family in the Black Liberation Army, the Panthers, Asher Shakur in Cuba. I mean, Castro's protected Tupac's auntie and many other Black Panther exiles when the federal government, COINTELPRO, these different agencies sought to destroy not just the Black Panthers, but the Black Panther breakfast program. I mean, you've seen the story about Fred Hampton and how the police shot him in his bed while he was asleep.
Where are you going with this?
Well, I'm trying to
I want to know
understand.
what do you believe in? Because of this, what do you believe in? Do you believe capitalism sucks? Do you believe?
No. I'm kind of like I'm an artist first, so I don't choose a political ideology,
okay,
but I utilize political ideology to forge questions and to challenge different theories and beliefs.
What do you think about Karl Marx?
I mean, I'm not the Karl Marx expert. I've read Karl Marx, you know what I mean? I mean, I've read the Communist Manifesto, and I've studied some Marx.
You think America is the greatest country in the world?
I think it is the most unique country in the world.
But not the greatest.
I think America, I think there's no, I feel like.
You think Tupac would be Tupac?
I think that America can be better.
No, better is not the question, though. Hear me out. Do you think America is the greatest country in the world?
I think it's the greatest country in the world for a lot of things. It's the greatest, as you've pointed out, it's the greatest country in the world for creating a business to put people in the penitentiary.
What is it not good for?
It's not good for putting people in the penitentiary.
No. What is?
Yeah, it's not good for starting multiple wars. And
no. Who is America not good for? Who is America not good for? Was America good to Tupac? Was America good for Tupac?
I mean, I don't think America was good for the indigenous people that were here before America came onto the shores.
You can say that about any country. I'm a Syrian. I don't have my country. We lost our country many years ago.
Yeah.
Many years ago. Trust me, if we wanted to go back, many of the oldest artifacts and museums and buildings that we had in Iraq, Muslims destroyed them in Iraq, recorded them just to say, this is what we're doing to all the Assyrian properties. So I don't have a country.
What about?
Well, what I want to ask you is the following. Do you think Tupac, if he was born in China, you think we'd know who Tupac is? You think if Tupac was born in Iran and he wanted to go rap, you think we'd know who he is? You think if Tupac was in, Afghanistan? You think if Tupac was in Gaza? You think if Tupac was in many of the countries in Africa? You think if Tupac was in Cuba, we know who Tupac is? You think Tupac would be able to perform his rap in a lot of these countries? You think Tupac would have the freedom of speech? You think Ice Cube would have the freedom of speech to go out there and say, fuck the police? You think, and because of that record, like blow up and make millions of dollars and then go into Hollywood, have an incredible life and set his son up to have an incredible life? His son is a great actor. Actually, I like watching him act. You think we would have those opportunities? You think you think Snoop, who came from LBC Long Beach, who has one of the greatest, I mean, you can play Snoop's greatest hits and just have a really, dog pound, so many different things that I can sit there and listen to him, right? You think Snoop, who has a show with Martha Stewart, you think that would have happened anywhere else? I mean, you got to realize, we can sit here, and I've had a lot of people say things about me because I'm Iranian, and they'll say, oh, terrorist, and this and this and that. Because of...
I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. You talk about it in your story.
That's right,
when you were bullied, when you stepped in and
right? Thank you. You know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about me, because I used to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That character is me,
mm-hmm.
not Asher in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was the thank you kid. I'm here, scrawny, 6'1", 130 pounds. That was me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I spoke. I would say Wednesday. I would say Gilligan's Island. I didn't know how to say Wednesday. I would say Wednesday. I didn't know how to say Gilligan's Island. I would say Island.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to say thank you. Thank you.
I mean, even though still now, like with you being such a strong supporter of the president, and yet you still get racist comments on your threads.
But
and
I'm
things
not
of that
surprised
nature.
by that, bro.
No, you're not surprised.
No,
by
but it doesn't. But I understand.
What
that
does
is
it
what
say?
I'm trying to say.
Hmm?
I understand it. You know why I understand it? Like, I understand it because man is flawed.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand because man falls for the trap of propaganda and other people saying this. So let me join. We're all about, one of the hardest things to do in life is to not fall for the mob. I don't know if Tupac would have been today the socialist, Marxist, Black Panther. I don't know if he would have gone that route.
I'm not saying he would. I mean, there's another. What about "Never Had a Friend Like Me"? Are you familiar with that song where he says, "I think the president." He says, "I think the president is bumping weed, smoking his beat, making a living out my misery." Like Pac said that he wanted. I mean, Pac said in that interview, he said he wanted to study what Clinton studied, right? So. Here, I'll tell you what. I'll just segue that. Here, let me ask a Gobi question for you, since we're talking about Iran. And Gobi wanted me to ask you, to your point, here's this quote. Why do you think, for you and yourself and an entire generation of Iranians, both in Iran and outside of Iran, have so much love for Tupac?
I don't know if I can speak for Iranians, but for me, I have so much controlled rage inside that at 46 years old, I've learned to keep it here. I don't know how to keep it there at 18. I don't know how to keep it there in my 20s.
Mm-hmm. And that's your dad told you that in this, you have the story where your dad tells you if you're going to react every time you're offended, it's going to be
when he punches the kid in the face and, hey, they call me a terrorist and all this other stuff. That's also my story. So in that scene, I'm thank you and I'm Asher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing both roles. It's my life, a part of that story. No, but for me, you have to know when look, if I had my business plan here, I don't. I would read it to you. One of the things I wrote in my business plan specifically for 2025, there was 3 words: product, speed, and signal. Signal is to try to control the noise that you get. But if you ask me why Tupac had rage. Tupac felt free and compelled to share what's on his mind. I feel I'm doing that. For example, when he said I'm an anomaly earlier, I'll go to a community of conservatives and Republicans, and I'm talking about that I grew up listening to Tupac and hit him up and all this stuff and R&B, and I can probably give you 100 R&B artists that I've listened to, stuff that people forgot about, Rome, stuff that people don't listen, Uncle Sam, I don't ever want to see you again, I can quote so many of these guys, and I have probably a book size of 1,000 pages of lyrics that are in my head. That's R&B and hip hop. That's still here. That influenced this guy. That helped me in business. That helped my drive. That helped me compete. That was able to size up somebody else when I was a smaller insurance company and I saw the bullies trying to push me around. And I said, it's not going to happen to me. And they would try to, undermine me for 5 years. And I said, my time's going to come. And when it comes, you're going to look at me in the face and give me my respect. That day's going to come. I can't wait for that day. And it happened. That's the part where the desire to have, what's the word? When he says, my time's going to come, you're going to see in the next 4 years, we're going to be sitting across from them from a political party where blacks and Mexicans and Armenians and all of these tribalist type of people and all this stuff that he's talking about, right? The words that he's saying. You know, this is where I came to, though, that it's very important, Asher, for this to make sense to you. I made a list of qualities that I cannot stand. Can't stand. I can't befriend them. I can't be around them for too long. I can tolerate them short term. It's not healthy for anybody. I can't stand victimhood mentality.
Yep.
My community had a lot of it. Armenians that I grew up with, it was always someone's fault. Not all of them. I have a lot of friends that are very successful, but there was a whole community that was always somebody else. Boy, poor us, what we went through. Bro, you didn't go through the Armenian genocide. Your great-grandparents did. Stop claiming on that you went through it. Stop. What kind of an Armenian are you? Just like you, except I'm also an Assyrian. Both sides of me, it happened with the Armenian and Assyrian genocide, what the Young Turks did. That's what I'm from. So you don't understand all that. So then, you know, the other quality, helpless. Stop acting like you're helpless. Mm-hmm. I don't want to act like I'm helpless. If I can walk, talk, speak a language and look at you in the eye, smell, sense, hear you out, if I have the ability to learn, I have the ability to make a change in my life. I don't want to feel helpless. Don't feel bad for me. I don't like it when people would bring, you know, turkeys on Christmas Day, on Thanksgiving to us. I don't want it. I don't want the help. I don't want it. You know, hey, I don't know what allowance is. I've never been given allowance. So I don't want to act helpless. And we were welfare kids, you know, Section 8 kids. You know, till high school, it was senior year, was still lunch ticket. You know, we didn't have anything. My parents got a divorce. We had nothing. But I cannot stand victimhood mentality and being helpless and needing an alibi to blame for your lack of effort and willingness to improve. I don't want to give you the benefit of the doubt of thinking you have anything over me. Even if you're right, I don't want to give it to you. I don't want to give it to you. Why should we give it to you? I'm not going to give you that kind of power and control. And I feel sometimes Armenians, blacks, and Hispanics, sometimes we do that. And I'm simply saying, I don't think it's the right idea. But what if they're really doing it to you? Stand up to them and get more powerful. What if we can't do nothing about it? I can't get out of the hood. Many have, so can you. But you don't know what it's like. What do you want me to do? Yeah, I don't know what it's like. I went to the army because that was my only escape. But you don't know what it's this. No, I do know. I do know. I had nothing to the name. No, that's the only thing where we have to be able to channel the energy into a better place that gives better rate of return than putting it into somewhere where there's no way of getting out. Cube got out. You got to respect him. He got out. Venture's like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm getting out. Great. A lot of these guys got out. The goal is to get out. The goal is not to stay there. And that requires a different level of consciousness. And that's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, a whole part of why I wrote this book, The Academy, that you were talking about, right? I was showing you right now the emails. What was the year I showed you of the first time we're talking about the sequencing of the book? 2014. I showed you email of 14 and 15 and all this stuff, right? I put a few thousand hours of writing this book, okay? And this is part one. There's going to be a couple other things that are coming out of here. Half the battle of writing this book was trying to shape the mindset of what helped me get out. That's what it was, of how I got out of this thinking. Mm-hmm. And that was the reason why that was written. So for me, when you're asking, you know, as an Iranian, why did Tupac did? The rage, the energy, the fire, the conviction. But my goal is to get out. I don't want to stay there in that level of consciousness. I'm not a victim. I'm not helpless. I don't need any of that stuff. Neither does everybody. Mm-hmm. God's given us a lot of gifts for us to be able to shine. If you're constantly hanging on to this, well, it's unfair, it's this. You know, like, I have a hard time listening to one song because I don't want the lyrics to get into my head, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's one of my, I will never play it in front of my kids. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. All I want to say is that they don't give a shit about us. All I want to say is that they don't, all I want to say is that, no. You know who that is, right? Michael Jackson, right? I don't want to listen to that. You know why? Because I don't want to believe that. All I want to say is that they don't give a shit about us. Who are they? I don't need them to give a shit about me. That's the language of a victim. I don't want that language in my kid's head. Mm-hmm. We're not listening to that. We'll listen to something else. We'll listen to a song called Victory. We'll listen to stuff that's shaping up your mindset. I don't want to feel like a victim. And the language, you put your kids around a person that has victimhood mentality, just wait till you see what happens to your kids within 3, 6, 12 months.
I feel you. I feel all that. I mean, I respect all that.
But you don't agree with it, though.
No, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I agree conceptually. I mean, you have to definitely, you can't stay a victim and be, you got to. I mean, so let me ask you this. You mentioned, okay, I'll read this quote from your. Because I've been watching. One of the things that when I say you're an anomaly, it's like you mentioned, like you have a lot of conservative guests, mm-hmm. and even my buddies is like, man, PBD's gonna red pill you when you get there. I'm like, we'll see. But what do you think about what do you think Pac would say in the current situation with where the world is, with the new administration, with Gaza, with Ukraine? Like, how do you think? Where do you think Pac would go with that? What do you think he would say today?
Do I think he would
Gaza?
flirt with the free Palestine idea? Yes. However, I also don't know if life would have gotten him closer to God. I don't know. I don't know which pastor, which preacher would have gone. Would he become more of a Muslim today? Would he have been a more Christian today? I don't know. But I do know he would have called out BS on both sides. And that's where I see him more as a center left is where he would have been if he was around today. See, the problem there is the following.
Center left.
Here's the challenge. I'll give you what the challenge is. You know what's one of the hardest things to do? I'm going to read this, one of the hardest things to do. You ever read the book Outwitting the Devil?
No.
Okay. So one of the hardest things to do in life is to sit there and be able to entertain ideas and not fall for the trap. Our educational system is a brainwashing community to brainwash our kids of being liberals and hating capitalists. Very simple. And that's not me telling you this. I'll give you the data. Out of all our English teachers in America, 98% of our English teachers, out of every dollar given to a political party, and breaking it down, how much of that goes to the Republican side or Democratic side? Do you know how much out of every dollar English teachers in public schools give to a political party, how much of it you think goes to a Democratic Party? Out of every dollar. School teachers, specifically English teachers.
I don't know.
What do you think it is? Take a wild guess.
I would say a large percentage.
How large? Take a wild guess. You've asked me questions.
Yeah,
I'm asking you a question. What do you think?
70%.
98 cents. You think that's good?
No.
Science teachers.
I don't think that's good. I'm not a fan, by the way.
By the way, math teachers, watch this one here. Math teachers are the only ones that was 87 cents. And 13 cents went to the Republican Party. Why math teachers? What is math? Math is asking what? Why? Math is logical. Math is Pythagorean theorem. Math is 39 minus 12 equals 27. Math is logic. Math is left brain. Mm-hmm. Okay? Journalism, art, creativity, right brain, feelings. Mm-hmm. When you're in a feeling industry and feeling community, you're extra sensitive to the people that have helped you get up, and you feel a level of loyalty to the people that are part of the feeling community. But that doesn't mean they're right. Eventually, you have to be able to sit there logically and be able to reason and say, I don't know about that, bro. I'm kind of having a hard time with that. I don't know about that. So to me, I don't know who would have influenced Tupac. I don't know if Tupac would have had a falling out with some of the people from the industry that he would say, I'm sick of it, and kind of be a standalone guy that he had enemies from both sides. Both people were guys from Hollywood and entertainment and guys on the other side who are establishment politics, I think he would have had enemies on both sides.
Where do you think he would? You think him and Trump would be friends?
Oh, for sure. He would have gone to the White House.
So that's kind of where I'm curious. So like,
yeah, he would have gone to the White House. Doesn't mean he would have agreed with everything he does, but he would have gone to the White House.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think? So I mean, you're familiar with Trump financial support to Jesse Jackson's 84 and 88 presidential campaign, right? Why hasn't Trump ever referenced that when he's being called a racist? Why wouldn't he? I'm just curious why he's never.
You know why?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Okay, so you ever met a guy that's been with 1,000+ girls?
And he's let figure it out for yourself. Let someone else say it.
No.
He's confident.
No. When you've been with a guy with 1,000+ girls, you think he can remember every one of them he's been with? I had a friend that was with 1,500. You think he can remember everyone he's been with? No. You know what my point is? Here's the point. You know how many people he's given money to? You know how many people he's given money to?
Do you think
he's given money to so many people? And here's the other part that people don't think about. You think he's a Republican? You think Trump's a Republican?
He was a Democrat. He's not. He's not anything. He's a businessman.
Trump? No, he's not. He's not. Trump is the first independent president we've had in a long time, but he had to go with a party, and he chose the Republican Party.
Have you seen the video, or do you know the story? David Hilliard from the Black Panthers claims that Trump gave the Black Panthers money and real estate for their operations.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because Trump was a man of the people way before he ran for office. People loved him. Tupac quoted Trump.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So, got it. So, interesting. Okay. Man, I know our time is getting short. Why did you name the character Asher in your book?
I wanted an Assyrian name, and Sergon and Odishu are tough names for the book, and we were flirting with naming the book Asher. I'm going to tell you a crazy story.
Crazy.
When I decided on Asher, Asher is Assyrian Ashur. Assyrians say Ashur.
Ashur.
When I named the character Asher and we were sold on it, we have a lot of different names we were working with, but we chose Asher. And Yonan was because there was an Assyrian man who had my office before I leased it from him, and he lost the office, and I came and picked it up at the tough time of real estate. His last name was Yonan. Yonan is a very powerful Assyrian last name. So I put those two together. I didn't want to put my name because it doesn't make sense. So Asher Yonan, and then the day after we finalize it, I go to church. I see a young boy. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Good. Playful, being very happy, playing around with my son. And I said, what's your son's name? Asher. How do you spell it? A-S-H-U-R. Are you Assyrian? No, but we love the name. Within 24 hours, I met 2 kids named Asher. That doesn't happen. And never in my life. I said, the first time that's ever happened in my life is the day after we finalized the name Asher.
That's odd, man.
And Asher is written to a lot of Ashers around the world. It's not just about, when you read this book, you realize people who read the book, it's all the Ashers. You're going to sit there and you're going to say, I freaking relate to Asher.
It's a great book. Everybody, Truth About Tupac, check out the Academy on audio or hard copy. You'll definitely enjoy it. There's a lot of cool stuff. You got Karl Marx in the book, too.
I got Karl Marx in the book, and he had one of the best debates in the book with Thatcher.
I was going to ask you one more question, if we could, just real quick, because, you know, again, the anomaly that I was going to say was just that, you know, you had my friend Sean Stone on and Oliver, and I saw your interview with Dan and Blazarian, and I saw you guys discussing it, and it's just obviously it's a serious topic right now, right? What's going on? And I saw your thoughts. Gobi wanted me to ask you, like, despite this was his question. Gosh, Gosh, I got all my stuff mixed up, man. Gosh.
What's the question? I'm not curious. I actually want to know what the question is. So you got to find it.
Here it is. Gobi says the IRI regime, the Iranian regime, is a corrupt mullahs that use religion as their excuse for power. Having said that, do you give them any credit for standing up to the U.S. and Israel?
Oh, I mean, you have to know, like, the people I respect the most, I just said this last night to a group of people, the people I respect the most are my enemies. So I know at least where they stand. I don't have to agree with you. I respect the fact that you're standing up for what you believe in. Doesn't mean you're right. So, look, like I said earlier, when I had the founder of the Islam, he's going to love watching the interview that's going to come out. Rob, is it coming out tomorrow? It's coming out tomorrow?
Yes, sir, 9 a.m.
9 a.m., yeah. So that interview, for the people that are Iranian, they'll be glued to the screen listening to this guy. I sat there, was respectful. Hey, I appreciate you for coming down and spending 2.5 hours with us. We had a great conversation. I left. Doesn't mean I agree with him. Doesn't mean I like the decisions he made. Doesn't mean any of that stuff. But you know why your friend is in U.S.? You know why I'm in U.S.? Do you know?
His family fled in 78.
Exactly.
Similar circumstance.
Because of the guy that was sitting in that chair yesterday.
And he wouldn't have had the opportunities that he had here.
But here's what it'll tell you as well. If the Shah was in Iran and he never fell and somebody else from his family replaced him and they were still in power over there, I would still be in Iran. So would he. He doesn't have a need to be here. If we came here, it's because we chose to come here, not out of force. Not out of force, because I lived there till 1989 because my parents were thinking things are going to change and it's going to improve. That's when we eventually ended up leaving. But my mom and dad were like, eventually this thing's going to get better. It didn't. It got worse. Millions of people died. When the Shah was the king of Iran, for the 37 years he was in, give or take, there was no wars. Only 3,500 people were killed. I mean, that's a lot still. But when Khomeini and those people took over, millions, the Middle East has been in chaos since the Mullahs, Hezbollahs, Islamic Revolutionary Guard took over. Since that day till today, the Middle East has been in chaos because of one country, and that's Iran. People can blame everybody else. Israel and the Shah got along. He didn't trust them, but they were able to get along. Do you know who went to live in Iraq and Saddam Hussein said, you got to leave? Khomeini went to Iraq. He's like, you got to get out of here. Why? I have a very good treaty with the Shah. We don't have problems. You got to get out. When Khomeini eventually came back from France to Iran, then Saddam attacked him because he realized their military is weak. Then he's like, I'm coming after you guys. That's when it happened. But prior to that, the Shah was able to broker deals with people, and they were good. But he was becoming a little bit too powerful and didn't like that. So no, I mean, for me, I agree with them. You can say you can respect them for standing up. Doesn't mean they're right. I think they have a very bad reputation of the way they've managed and build relationships with others. They have a horrible resume of doing that. They have no clue how to deal with other people and try to broker deals. They don't. And who pays the price for it? Their people pay the biggest price for it, the Iranians. Biggest price.
Well, man, this was... I could talk to you for a long time, but I know your time is valuable, and you have you're working on turning this into a feature film.
Tonight we have dinner. Tonight we have dinner.
The Academy.
Yes, tonight we have dinner, and the dinner is about meeting with a writer that's interested in wanting to write that into a movie script. This will probably be the first movie I fund that will take from A through Z, and I'm excited about it. Very excited about it. Very personal.
Yeah, I want everybody to pick up The Academy. Again, big thank you to Patrick Bet-David. I want to shout out everybody, Truth About Tupac community. Shout out my family, my wife, my daughters, Kaya Coco wearing your Tupac shirt. Keep the legacy alive, y'all. Shouts out to Tupac Unlimited. Shouts out to everybody. You already know. D-Love, the fam. Pat, man, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you.
Man, hopefully we can do a part two. Man, honestly, I didn't get through all my questions because, you know, you made it easy. you made it easy. You had a lot of really good, elaborate answers, and but hopefully this will not be the first, not be the last.
This performs well, and the audience shows interest. I can't wait for part 2 because I can talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah. All right. Till the next episode.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you.